I want to reach out and talk to everybody about your overall atmosphere and the culture of your dealership. The painful reality is all of us sometimes lose focus. You know, we have this idea, we have this overall vision of our dealership and where we want to be, but we've got these different departments. We've got sales and service and new and used. And then we've got the salespeople, and everybody kind of gets fall into their own world. And there's this, we preach about a team culture and a team atmosphere, but is there anything that you really have in place that might be kind of a cancer to that atmosphere, that culture? And a lot of times is, can you identify that cancer? Do you really know what it is and you know where it's coming from? Here's the best analogy I can give you. Anybody that talks about team automatically thinks of sports. And in sports, there's plenty of examples out there about how you take individual talent and on its own, it's incredible. On a one-on-one basis, that person is such a strong talent that there's very, very few people out there that can look as good individually on that level as this one person does. But in a team culture, if you build a culture based on this one individual, chances are you'll never reach that goal of hitting a championship. And the best, most recent example I can actually think of probably relates for me because I like basketball. Basketball's probably one of my more favorite sports. And I'm sure that if anybody out there really thinks about it, you can come up with another analogy in any type of sports atmosphere. It's very similar to this one. But take the Miami Heat recently, right? And LeBron James, he left the Cleveland Cavaliers. He went to Miami, and he put this big campaign together to get himself and Dwayne Wade and a couple of other big players to campaign together all on one team for one goal of winning a championship. And individually, these stars, Dwayne Wade, you know, LeBron James, you know, they're dynamic. You know, they are very, very strong. But they could not find a way to exist as a team atmosphere. When they went to face the Dallas Mavericks, who've been playing as a team together for so long, under a coach that really puts that team together, really, they got lost. You know, they couldn't find a way to pass the ball. They couldn't get it to anybody, and it was a quick series. Another great example is I'm from Detroit. I love my Pistons, okay? And if you look at the Pistons championship they won just a few years ago, they took on the LA Lakers, which was a team combined of Shaquille O'Neal, Karl Malone, Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant, a couple of other big names that they took on there. And they took on a team which basically were considered to be outcast in the NBA, put together this team by a coach who found a way to take all of these strong talents and bring them all together. Now, these guys had been playing together for quite some time under these other talents, but they went through these other coaches, okay? It wasn't until Larry Brown came in and took all of these talents and brought them together and learned how to take these talented individuals, train them, coach them, build on their strengths, paid a little bit of attention to their weaknesses, and taught them to be better in how to work together. And after they did that, these group of outcasts took on some of the biggest names in the NBA and beat them in a pretty quick series. They pretty much almost swept the Lakers, if you remember it. And I'm telling you, what I've noticed is that I'll single out some other individuals because I've been on the sales floor and I've been part of the conversation as managers with other salespeople that you have, and maybe you don't, maybe you figure out how to take this one talented individual who knows how to work his customer base, and maybe this individual really does get other people involved. But don't let this cloud your judgment, okay? Because I'm talking serious right now, that you probably do have a cancer in your organization. You probably do have one very talented individual that lives his life on the I, me, my program, okay? And he may try to do things to fool it. He may vacuum up, he may clean some windows, he may work on the lot, but he does nothing to bring those other individuals together to work as a unit and make the entire culture better. All right, when it comes time for this guy to hit his numbers and do what he does for himself, he will run over every single one of them and he'll stir the pot. He'll start to make the conversations of, I'm better than you, this is my store, I've been doing this for this long, and I deserve this, and I deserve that. And if that ends up being the conversation that exists in your showroom, you are going to start having the sales turnover. You will have a culture filled with huge turnover because you're afraid to walk away from this guy that brings you units. And just like a team, he'll bring you points, and you're afraid to walk away from him, but you're not paying attention to what he's doing to everything else. All right? Now, here's the reality. In order for you to achieve the common goal of CSI, volume, profit, referrals, loyalty, longevity, you can manipulate CSI, volume, and profit. You cannot manipulate referrals and loyalty. That stuff comes based on a service that you provide and an experience that exists. And that experience only exists if sales, new and used, service, finance, parts, insurance, F&I and body shop, and all these different departments work together with the same common goal of becoming a very successful dealership. You have to set that goal, and you have to celebrate if you achieve that goal. You have to celebrate if you did not achieve that goal. But what is your goal? Is your goal to be the #1 dealership in volume? Is your goal to be the #1 in customer satisfaction? Is your goal to sit there and hit a high number of customers, have the highest retention out there? What is your goal? Is your goal to have, good numbers, maybe not be #1, but not spend nearly as much money as #1 does because, frankly, that bragging right is not as important to you? Maybe it isn't. But if anything in your process or any element of your process distracts you from hitting your goal, you have to look at it and ask, is this kind of a cancer to my organization? Is it bringing things down? Is it not helping make these other people better? Am I starting to spend more time trying to train new people? And I can tell you, if you don't pay attention to the fact that you have to train more and more people, you're going to get tired of training more people, and you just created a behavior habit that stops you from making other people better. You've got to put a process in place and have the right people in place and have the right people accountable for everybody's success. And once you've got this group of talented individuals, you've got to have a coach, a manager that can pay attention to these guys and be that energy that brings it all together. If you don't have it, you're just spinning your wheels and you're just kind of doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you're creating the same headaches over and over again. So look at your organization and ask, what kind of a culture and atmosphere do you have, and what kind of process do you have that invites a positive, productive atmosphere? Are you constantly turning things over? Is your culture negative? Is it proactive? Do you have a room full of optimists, or do you have a room full of pessimists? What's your culture like? Ask yourself that question. Thank you.